In this life, the truth must be told, no matter what. Everybody have now aligned with the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu speech when he said Nigeria is not a country and Nigeria has never been a country. Nigeria have no identity, and the people that is living in the country has no identity of saying yes, this is my country. What is happening now concerning Oby Ezekwesili and the Nigerian state, it is something that is very shocking. Make sure you watch this video to the end so that for you to understand the truths that is going on concerning this issue of one Nigeria, where Oby Ezekwesili is now rejecting the identity of Nigeria. This is not issue of a joke. It is not issue of where is the news or how come, because this news and this interview exposed a lot of things concerning this issue of one Nigeria, a place where she was saying that the best method to this country is for everybody to come together. Let's renegotiate this one Nigeria of a thing, that everybody will keep on claiming that one Nigeria or nothing. That if you don't come to renegotiate this one Nigeria, that they don't even see anything working in this country. Be you who, no matter whatever you think you are or you are coming to lead, that you can never lead well, because Nigeria need to renegotiate and they need to reorganize themselves and rearrange themselves, and then let people understand they are in a country. In fact, it's very, very shocking. According to the headline, it says, Beyond Reformed, how Oby Ezekwesili's statement validates the Biafran struggle for total liberation. How her statement validates the Biafran struggle for total liberation. This is the main cause why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still saying it, that Nigeria need to come together to renegotiate and to think of if we can still coexist as one country. And the best solution is liberation, is division, is let everybody go in separate zone, without fight, without quarrel. But at the end, the Nigerian states, the government, they keep claiming that one Nigeria or nothing. Just watch by yourself so that you will understand things that is going on in the country. As I'm about to watch, like, subscribe, and share for everyone to see what is happening in Nigeria.
The greatest tragedy in Nigeria is the lie they told us that Nigeria is our destiny. No, Nigeria is not our destiny. Nigeria is just a design. Wait, this is not my word. This is the word of Nigerian economic policy expert, Mrs. Oby Ezekwesili. Not only that did she say, she also went further to say that Nigerians should stop voting. And they asked her, Ma, what do you mean? She said Nigerians should vote for themselves. She went further to say that Nigerians should vote for themselves by going back to the drawing board and think and determine if they want to vote for one person as a nation. Honestly, after listening to this interview, they also asked her, Ma, out of the three candidates, major candidates in Nigeria that is coming out for the presidential election coming in 2027, which is Mr. Peter Obi, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Abubakar Atiku, who are you supporting? What she answered, somebody that I've told you that Nigeria is not her identity. What she answered, well, please, I don't want to bore you with words, and don't say that it came out from my mouth. No, listen to Mrs. Oby Ezekwesili, what she said in this interview, because it's mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. Please listen to her. Then you drop your comment in the comment section what you think.
Which of the presidential candidates have you chosen to support in that election?
Well, you know, in 2023, I made it very clear that just using the criteria on which I see leadership either fail to govern well or succeed to govern well. That I would not be making any choice amongst the three candidates that happen to also be the three candidates again in the next elections. And I said, just on the premise of that, nothing else, no primordial affiliations or anything driving this assessment, character, competence, capacity. And I made it clear that the other two candidates score considerably lower than what you would assign to a governor, former Governor Oby, and so that I was going to stand with Governor Oby. I don't think that anything has really significantly changed, but we just, keep waiting and seeing what will happen to this country, because frankly speaking, I do not think that the most important thing for Nigerians to be talking about is the 2027 elections.
At this point.
At this point.
Right.
At this point. I mean, if you consider the kind of hollowing out of the Nigeria state that we have experienced in the last couple of years, then you should know that, we almost are just... what's that word they use where you're walking, sleeping and
daydreaming?
You're just walking sleepwalking. It's almost like we're in denial. I mean, think of what has happened to us from one electoral cycle to another electoral cycle. And what do we have to show for it? What we have to show for it is the complete collapse of the dignity of the human being, as the dignity of life. It's like we have zeroed out on the value of life. And yet we continue to think that somehow, if we just keep doing elections, we'll be fine. And I am challenging that and saying that Nigerians should at least vote for themselves. And, if no one votes for you in terms of the leaders you're choosing, vote for yourselves. Because think of what we have seen in the degradation. The degradation is devastating. And frankly speaking, the greatest tragedy of the country is this resignation that this is our destiny. I say, no, this is by design.
The acceptance of it.
It is not our destiny. This is by design.
It shouldn't be.
And this design needs to be challenged. And I have put it out there that challenging this design requires going to the table of real conversation that leads to an agreement on what our shared values are. I mean, the more you listen to rhetorics across the polity, you know that we really have a problem of understanding whether we have any shared values at all. And then what we have to agree...
There is an identity
An
crisis.
identity. So I was going to come to that. Then the second thing is the national vision. What are we all aspiring to? Because what you see is almost a complete orphaning of the Nigeria state. The Nigeria construct is orphaned, and it's only loved by the people I call predators of patriotism. These are predators. When they are in office, they are patriotic about Nigeria. Outside of office, they are not patriotic about Nigeria. So in office, they create a false equivalency of saying that a criticism of poor governance that they are offering to Nigerians is you not liking Nigeria. I mean, that is so disingenuous. It is duplicitous and should be something nobody gives any.
But let me ask you
But
this.
the third thing is agreeing a common identity, sort of where we say, on the basis of the fact that I absolutely love this country, I would rather be Nigerian than be any other thing, we can have some common agreements around the identity. So you're defending that identity. I am defending it. It does not matter what you believe or what I believe. We are agreeable to the construct of the Nigerian identity.
But
we don't have that. We don't have these three things.
You're absolutely right. But that Nigerian identity has to be, if you like, earned for the people.
Yes.
In other words, there's got to be a justifiable reason why they should identify as Nigerian, rather than fall back on the safe places that they identify with, which is their ethnic group and their religion.
Yes.
I mean, the country has to offer them something.
You've said it so well.
To buy into.
Yes,
and that vision that unites the country into that vision just doesn't exist.
Charles, you've said it so brilliantly.
You said it. I mean, I'm simply emphasizing, I'm simply buttressing what you said.
But so in addition to what you've said, that absence of a sense of social contract, a sense of social cohesion, social capital, all of these things are nation formations, right? And the absence of it is what is creating a digging deeper in the hole.
True.
And the Americans say, when you're in the hole, you stop digging. So to dig us out, we do need to have this conversation, almost like saying, okay, the design that we're run right now has not worked for us. We do need to design again, and that's the conversation.
They don't want to have that conversation. Why do you think that is the case?
Well, one of the things you must give to the political class, east, west, north, south of this country, is that they actually have a consensus. They do. When you want to understand on an evidence-based approach, the consensus they have, you just take a look at the National Assembly.
But when you say
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, people would say that you yourself were in politics. I mean, you were a presidential candidate.
Yes.
You were in government.
Yes.
And your government didn't bring up that conversation, did it?
Oh, no, but there was a national political conference, which for me still does not meet the standard of what I am arguing for.
But at least you made some effort.
Yes. But so what I am arguing for is that since the independence of our country, we've not really had the kind of conversation that we should have had immediately the British left the scene. We should have really had a conversation that would get us to the place where we agree that these are shared values, this is our national vision, and
then come up with a constitution based on that.
Precisely.
That's why you're talking about restructuring.
Precisely. And in the absence of that, you're unable to transit. I used to say that we failed to do a transitioning from country to nation. But now we even don't completely have the full parameters of what defines country.
It's a bit depressing.
It is depressing. When you look at the whole metrics of what the United States, the United Nations defines as country, we struggle on a number of those parameters.
Well, let me come to this point, because we are, as they say, where we are, and therefore we've got to measure. I think the Chinese say that you sort of look at the world from where you're standing and take the first step from there. Is supporting Peter Oby for you an act of political realism or an act of political faith? Because the APC has money, the APC has structures, the APC has incumbency, and the opposition appears fragmented at the moment. So, I mean, my question is supporting Peter Oby an act of political realism or an act of political faith for you?
Yes. So, I mean, anyone who absolutely works on the basis of what you call political realism, which is that, the pattern of behavior of incumbency in our politics has always been to buy up everything they can buy. And that, predictably, the outcome would be one where they are doing everything to negate the basic ethos and principles of fair play in political competition. And that, therefore, whether it is fairness or transparency or, accountable systems that really play by the rules of the game, that we would seldom be guaranteed that. But we've also seen situations where the people vote for themselves. They come to that point where they sort of say, you know what? Okay, we've had it.
Right.
We've really had it. We can't continue on this trajectory because it actually is too injurious. That kind of moment of a tipping point is something that you don't completely write off.
Nevertheless, millions of Nigerians, and you know this because you're in the community. I mean, you do a lot of work in the community. Millions of Nigerians are hungry.
Yes.
They're under enormous economic pressure. If the APC can offer immediate material incentives while P2B offers a longer-term vision, which do you think will ultimately determine how Nigerians vote?
I mean, you're correct. I even did a research on the basis of which we have the fixed politics and the SPPG showing exactly that. The low productivity of the average Nigerian, as you call them, basically means low household income, and therefore it is always statistically significant for them to get any additional. They live for the day, okay? They live for a day. When you look at the household income, the statistical significance of anything that they are given, whether in kind or in cash, really takes a different decision point. And that decision point basically is you the elite, have 4 years. We have 1 day. That 1 day that they can increase the pie of the day's earnings is sufficient to make a decision. And so when the middle class, rebuke the really poor, by the way, 62% by virtue of our national statistics. So we're at more than 130 million of our citizens in that bracket. And so when they make those decisions, and the elite, the middle class elite, disdainfully say to them, why are you selling your vote? You're selling your future. It's actually elite privilege that is very obnoxious because the fact is there is nothing that tells them that tomorrow will be okay. Which is why, for me, if we looked at what has happened with a place like Kenya, I always joke with the Kenyans that if they took all their politicians and brought them here at night and took us to Nairobi, the two populations will wake up and not know that anything happened. You won't know that anything happened. But look at Kenya. In the 2010, I was Kofi Annan was at the political spectrum of it. I was at the economic spectrum of it as World Bank Vice President. And Kenya was going to just be a rubble. But they managed to get themselves to the place where they had a conversation. That conversation led to a constitution that was determined by referendum. Today, when the Kenyans disagree, they are not disagreeing about these critical nation formation issues. What they are doing is they are disagreeing about, okay, you're not governing us well, and we need to get rid of you. Okay, so, but in terms of those existential issues of the Kenya state, they have gone beyond that now. And that's what we need. We need to come to the moment of truth where we actually have this conversation. And I've seen the political class pretend that, if we went to a conversation on how to restructure our federation for higher productivity and competitiveness, it could break up the country. Lies. Sheer lies. They basically are pushing this thing of wanting to control this artificial state that they prey on. They prey on the artificial state. And for as long as this state is deformed, it works for them. And so the people who can be the countervailing force to our political class are the ones that you described as being distracted by just survival issues. So what it means is that there has to arise a segment of this society that actually wants to pay the price for what is necessary to be done. And it's the irresponsible middle class refusing to actually invest in a sustainable Nigeria. And guess what's going on? They fail in the space of enlightened self-interest because the children that they are giving a better life, they are all in Canada and America and the UK. So you have homes where husband and wife are living, all children are gone. And, you know, these days I'm hearing of parents that are relocating to live with their children abroad. You know, it comes for you.
There's a terrible dislocation.
It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Yeah. So the middle class, the what we call ordinarily the elite of society that have abdicated responsibility for saying, you know what, the poorest segment of society cannot organize this conversation just on their own. We are going to be as selfless as possible because we have a stake in this. We need society to offer the room for the kind of social and economic mobility that we got. I mean, think of all of these fellows at the National Assembly. None of them ever had a Ford-like or Rockefeller-like father in their history. And yet they have made enormous wealth from going to government.
You know, we must question that. It's fascinating listening to your analysis. I mean, it's just so engaging. And what I find from it, I mean, in most societies, you have think tanks that come up with these kinds of things and give it to the government so the government can look ahead. I mean, this sort of analysis is the kind of thing that's very important for a government to have to look ahead. But they never seem to hearken to those kinds of messages, or they wouldn't even bother to read it. And what I would like to ask you is, because you seem to believe that somebody who can put this country back on the right path of rectitude would be Peter Oby. That's your candidate. What would he need to do differently this time to convert the enthusiasm of people who follow him, who appear to constitute quite a lot of people, into a genuinely nationwide electoral coalition?
So it requires organizing, right? And organizing is a very technical thing. It is not merely providing inspirational speeches. It is really very technical because it's granular. And it's really about being strategic in the way that you're bringing people together.
But would it be the opposition coming together?
I'm not sure about the opposition coming together because they appear to be very entrenched in their individual ideas of, their ambitions.
Right.
But the people of Nigeria, I am canvassing for a Nigeria where people sort of are saying the greatest, the most severe missing item in the way of leadership in our country, on our continent, based on my research, is the character part of it.
Oh yes, that is it. No matter whatever that is happening in the country, one day truth must be told, and one day everybody must understand where they belong to. You know, every time they will come up, they will tell you Nigerians love themselves so much that one Nigeria or nothing. But the truth still remains that Nigeria never loved themselves, and Nigeria never come together to negotiate and to understand if they are going to stay in one country. They never. Since the 1914, the amalgamation of Nigeria, After then, they found their independence in 1960. After then, they encountered themselves for coup, uncountable coup. After then, they go into civil war. And after then, they goes into divide and rule system, trying to divide people and to rule them, to conquer them, so that they will not understand and they will not hold on their identity where they belong to. So that let some people now fight against their own ethnic group, like what is happening in the southeast, in the eastern states of the country, where other parts of Igbos reject their co-Igbo in the central of in the southeast. At the end, they will tell you this is Igbo, this is this one, this is that one. And all those things is part of divide and rule, is part of dividing people, not allowing them to understand where they belong to. And the country thought that if they do it this way, it will make the country to remain as one because of the oil that is in the eastern states. And this is where Nigeria find themselves. And still yet, nothing is moving. Nobody is climbing. Anybody who tries to climb, another person will draw him back. And this is how it is. You will see many of them when they have not elected in a position or in a power. You will see them speaking very, very nice word, telling you that once they come in, they are going to make everything work, this and that. But once they get into power, they will even make things to be worse than the person that has been there before. That is how the country is being built, and you cannot blame them. You will blame the foundation of the country. The foundation of Nigeria, they never make Nigeria to favor you and I. They never. They make the foundation of Nigeria to favor only the elect, only those who find themselves in position of power. That is how they make the country to favor. They don't make the country to favor anyone else. If you are poor, you die with your poor. And if you are rich, you will die with your rich. And the poor cannot cross the line of the rich, and the rich can never cross the line of the poor. And if you want to do it, if you want to cross or if you want to ask questions, they will use many things to trap you down. And eventually you try to wake up to ask some question concerning the thing that is happening in the country. They will still use your fellow person that is still suffering the way you are suffering to start battering you. All those things is part of the problem where Nigeria find herself, and then there is the way, method, the foundation they use to build this country. That is why you see nothing is moving and nothing can move. Nigeria need to vote themselves in, according to Oby Ezekwesili. Nigerians, they need to vote themselves in this 2027 election that is coming. Voting yourself meaning you need to leave the issue of voting, and you need to leave it for those people that claim that they are in position, so that let them start understanding that the mind of Nigerians is no more in the country, that the mind of Nigeria is out of the country. Whatever, because this one, they will come, they will tell you, once they give you this, you will buy your vote, you will sell your vote. Person who don't have meal to eat, who don't have anything, who believe in this issue of once you give him 1,000 or once you give him 2,000 for the day, it will be enough for him or for her to use. Person that have never eaten anything for some days, once he found out that you are sharing small money, he will collect. And that is how they build the country to be. They make the country for you to suffer and to suffer and to suffer, so that they will use every means to be using you to do whatever they want to use you for. That is how the system is being built. In fact, a lot is happening. A lot is happening. Everything Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said concerning this Nigeria, he used to come out from the same elect, the same leaders, the same people who is telling you that one Nigeria or nothing. One word or two words used to come out from their mouth, but at the end they will tell you, no, don't do it like this. All of them know the truth. All of them know that Nigeria cannot work. and all of them knows that the system we find ourselves in can never work. Nigeria has never been a country. Nigeria has never. If those people that has ruled Nigeria for many years, like the emirs of Sokoto, the those leaders, according to them, the forefathers of the country, they never believe in one Nigeria. They never. The only people who believe in one Nigeria is the British, and this is the company of the British, and that is why it is functioning like the way the British want it to function. In fact, a lot is happening. I would like to hear your comment, and we would like to subscribe and share for everyone to see things going on in the country. So thank you for watching.